do. And now the news in detail. The Director General of the Delta State Bureau of Communications and Orientation, Mr. Fred Ogenesibe, has refuted claims that recent defectors are attempting to hijack the All Progressive Congress (APC) in Delta State. Mr. Fred Ogenesibe dismissed the allegations made by former lawmaker Agbefuwa as baseless, misleading, and potentially decisive for the party. He affirmed that Omeni Soboti remains the duly recognized state chairman and that all existing officers continue to hold their positions following Governor Sherry Oboewori's defection from the PDP to the APC in April. According to Ogenesibe, Governor Oboewori has been collaborating closely with party stakeholders to strengthen the APC and secure victory for President Bola Tinubu and other party candidates in the 2027 election. And moving on, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohamed Pate, has stated that the President Bola Tinubu's revised public-private partnership models in the health sector are drawing in foreign exchange and boosting new investments across the healthcare industry. Professor Pate made this known while announcing a multi-phase investment agreement worth $35 million aimed at establishing a world-class diagnostic center, a research and image training facility, and deploying cutting-edge imaging equipment across federal hospitals in all geographical zones. He noted that the initiative would help reduce the economic burden on Nigerians who travel abroad for medical treatment. The minister disclosed this during a media briefing held during his site visits to the Universal Medical Imaging and Diagnostic Center at Shanghai University in Shanghai, China.
Only adds to this effort, and the National Hospital in Abuja is identified as the first place where United Medical Imaging will have a diagnostic center over time. They are in discussion with the National Hospital so that we can see how to operationalize such a major diagnostic facility in our own national health system, starting with the National Hospital in Abuja. They're willing to commit initial $5 to $6 million in the first phase, and over time they have indicated to us at least $30 million more in the second phase. But we'll have to do it carefully, following due process, ensuring all the regulatory standards are met, and that the talent and our context is taken into account. Diagnostic facility that has PET, MRI, PET, CT scan, mammography, various kinds of diagnostic equipment. And I think we saw what we can also ensure that Nigerians have access to across our federal facilities, across our hospitals, at least in the 6 geopolitical zones over time. Already, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is transforming Nigeria's healthcare system. Through NSIA, there are 10 major new diagnostic centers being constructed and equipped, in addition to the NSIA Federal Ministry of Health partnership that has brought infrastructural upgrades for cancer treatment all across Nigeria. Now, the entry of actors like the Universal Medical Imaging only adds to this effort, and the National Hospital in Abuja is identified as the first place where United Medical Imaging will have a diagnostic center over time. They are in discussion with the National Hospital so that we can see how to operationalize such a major diagnostic facility in our own national health system, starting with the National Hospital in Abuja. They're willing to commit initial $5 to $6 million in the first phase, and over time they have indicated to us at least $30 million more in the second phase. but we'll have to do it carefully, following due process, ensuring all the regulatory standards are met, and that the talent and our context is taken into account.
Insurance professionals have been urged to expand their services to reach a broader segment of the Nigerian population. The call was made during the conference on the 2025 insurance reform. The report.
The Nigerian Insurance Industry Reforms Act, NIIRA 2025, is a strategic initiative designed to position Nigeria as a continental leader by driving growth through insurance support for investments. Minister of State for Finance Dr. Doris Uzoka Anite disclosed this in Lagos while addressing insurance directors at a conference. She urged insurance professionals to underwrite businesses that will contribute to achieving President Bola Tinubu's vision of a $1 trillion economy.
Insurance just means that you have to protect against risk. Risk will happen. There must always be risk. Risk is part of life. But then your ability to manage the risk is what we call insurance. So insurance really comes up to say, if this risk should happen to you, whatever risk you're insuring, that we stand ready to back you, we stand ready to support you so that you don't have a diminishment of income.
A key speaker at the event, Biodun Fadikbe, stated that the NIIRA 2025 reforms opens new opportunities for achieving broader economic goals.
If we are going to create a large number of quality jobs that will make the economy to grow inclusively, it means entrepreneurs that will create those jobs must be able to take risks without having to worry. Which means the underwriters, we have to be there to underwrite the risks these entrepreneurs are taking, so the process create jobs. But of course, it means people can also take bigger risks.
Regulators of the sector acknowledge that changes are on the way and pledge to drive innovation with expanding opportunities.
This is believed to be one of the reforms that will support the agenda of our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. And there's no way insurance can be left behind, because that is the backbone of the entire economy.
Insurance is the best means of protection. And then there's nobody, either maybe you're in the upper, the high income level, or the middle or the lower income level, that you don't need one form of protection in terms of your life, in terms of your property.
The event was held under the theme Navigating the New Insurance Landscape Strategies for NIRA 2025, Compliance and Growth. Temitope Oluwafemi reporting for BeeTv News. The Nigerian Insurance Industry Reforms Act.
In Delta State, the police have apprehended 77 individuals linked to kidnapping, robbery, car theft, and drug trafficking and various other criminal activities. During the monthly media briefing at the command headquarters, Commissioner of Police Oluwafemi Abaniwanda revealed that 5 kidnapping victims have been rescued with 4.1 million naira in ransom money recovered, along with firearms, ammunition, and 3 vehicles. In a separate operation, authorities apprehended Ahmed Ibrahim, notorious arms dealer and key weapon supplier to Northern Bandit Group, who is also wanted in connection with multiple kidnapping and robbery cases.
At the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Berlin, Brazil, Nigeria is showcasing its climate leadership in Africa. The country's latest climate submission, NDC 3.0, outlines strategies to reduce emissions, expand clean energy, and attract international investments to drive green growth.
This is, it's a turning point for Nigeria. And one of the main things we're hoping to take away is to turn all these deliverables in our NDC 3.0 into pipeline projects, partnerships, and pay for performance. Because we need to start turning this paper from paper to projects. And COP30 is where Nigeria will be doing this.
Majumi says Nigeria's climate change will unlock opportunities through the newly approved National Carbon Market Framework and Climate Change Fund. She adds that the COP30 offers the perfect platform to build new global partnerships, especially among forestry nations in the Amazon, Congo, and Guinea regions.
And that decision really gives investors a clear policy clarity and signals that Nigeria is open for high integrity carbon investments. And that delivers real mitigation and community benefits. And so COP30 is the right marketplace to activate this framework. Belém gives us the right global matchmaking platform to be able to achieve this.
Vice President Kashim Shettima is expected to address world leaders at the COP30 plenary, where he will present Nigeria's new roadmap for adaptation, biodiversity and climate justice. Nigeria's message at COP30 is clear. The country is open for climate-smart investments and partnership that will turn its commitment into action. Zainab Mohammed reporting for BeeTv News.
Vice President Kashim Shettima is set to unveil Nigeria's green transition roadmap as the country takes a leading role in climate action across West Africa. Nigeria has become the first nation in the region to submit its third nationally determined commission, known as NDC 3.0, to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The report.
Lady was rescued on earth. One of the suspected kidnappers paid the supreme price, and in his possession was found an AK-47 rifle with 20 rounds of live ammunition. A female arms runner was coming from Kaduna to Delta State, to Warri to be precise, to come and pick arms for bandits in Kaduna. They were tracked after about 24 hours of continuous sleepless night by operative of the CP Special Assignment Team. The lady was picked up, and the suspected gun runner was picked up in Warri, one Ahmed Ibrahim, a 31-year-old. And then further intelligence and interrogation led to the recovery of one AK-47 rifle and a bag containing 115 rounds. That was what was required from the lady.
In Okwe, Delta State, the special advisor to the governor on peace building and conflict resolution, Chief Edwin Uzo, has reaffirmed the state government's commitment to promoting peace, dialogue, and inclusive development at the grassroots level. Speaking during community peace education workshop held across Okwe, Saple, and Uvie, Chief Uzo said the initiative strengthens citizens' commitment to tolerance, unity, and mutual understanding. He commended Governor Sheriff Oborori for prioritizing peace and security under the MORE agenda, noting that Delta State has continued to record progress in infrastructure, empowerment, and inclusive governance. The event themed the role of dialogue in embracing peace and endangering harmony, featured cultural displays and a lecture by Professor Ben Okbevra on conflict resolution and community dialogue. Stakeholders at the event pledged continued cooperation to sustain peace and stability across Delta communities.
And progress, but when anger, suspicion, and division take control, development suffers, and our communities remain unstable. As you watch the documentary playing behind me, you will see highlights of the peace-building activities, community engagements, and interventions our office has carried out across Delta State.
We are in an era where we have community conflicts all over the place. And so, dialogue is seen as the key in resolving conflicts. And so there's no doubt that at the end of this program, we all live here more richer, more prepared to resolve our communal issues through dialogue than involving in confrontation and conflicts.
Dialogue, my friends, is not a sign of weakness. It is a mark of wisdom. It reflects the courage to listen, the humility to learn, and the strength to forgive one another.
If there is no security, there cannot be development. No wonder that the letter E in the MORE agenda of our governor is enhance peace and security. No matter what you do, no matter what development you put in place,
the federal government and the Ondo state government have reaffirmed their commitment to transforming Nigeria's education system through digital innovation, effective data management, and the professional development of teachers. At the opening of the 69th National Council on Education meeting in Akure, Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa highlighting education as a key driver of social mobility, national unity, and sustainable development. He noted that the state is building on its historical legacy from the free education era of the old Western region by making new investments in digital learning, teacher welfare, and school infrastructure. Meanwhile, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tujin Alausa, announced the approval of a National Education Repository and Data Bank System, a digital platform designed to preserve academic records.
Since our absorption as government, we have embarked on a massive reconstruction and renovation of public schools infrastructure across the state. We also initiated strategic collaborations with international development partners and other stakeholders to reposition our education sector for greater impact.
Education is not merely a social service. It's a strategic investment. It is the foundation of economic growth, social cohesion, and national stability. Quality education data and professionalized teaching are twin pillars on which sustainable national development rests.
The House of Representatives Committee on Youth Empowerment has thrown its weight behind the Women's Reserved Seat Bill, describing it as a practical step toward closing the gender gap in Nigeria's political representation. The report.
For years, women have held less than 5% of seats in the National Assembly, ranking Nigeria among the lowest in Africa for female political inclusion. Supporters of bills say it offers a viable route for women to contest and win seats without displacing existing legislature.
The historical trajectory has been a tragedy, but we are very positive and very optimistic that the only time that we have is now. We have the political will. We know that for a bill like this to pass through, we only need the political will. We just want to take a step forward. We want to take a step ahead. And we are hoping that the passage of this bill will not be limiting Nigerian women to only the special seats. And we have to continue to emphasize and also continue to educate Nigerians that Nigerian women are still eligible to contest for the statutory seats.
The committee says it will take the lead in lobbying support for the bill to ensure its passage.
I'm going to ensure that every stone should be turned over, so that the turn will be turned, to ensure that we go into the bill and understand every clause of it, so that every layman can understand the clause of it and can also accept it. There's a lot of people that do not understand the bill. They feel the bill is going to affect the current position of the House, but it's not going to affect it. So those are kind of sensitization we do to the people to understand that this bill is a bill that will assist us in governance, assist us in development, and assist us in moving the country forward, also locally and also in the international eyes of the international community. So know that we are a country that supports women, and we're not a country that discriminates.
Stakeholders note that passing the legislation would mirror the landmark Not Too Young to Run reform, creating more opportunities for women to participate in politics. However, the proposal requires constitutional amendments, meaning it will need broad support across both chambers and from state assemblies. Advocate says momentum is finally on their side, but with previous attempts defeated, campaigners insist they must sustain pressure and build alliance to carry the bill over the line. Zainab Mohammed reporting for BeeTv News.
A day after Democrats scored sweeping victories in the first major election day since his return to the White House, President Donald Trump defended his administration's economic record, declaring that the United States currently enjoys the greatest economy right now. The reports.
Speaking at a business forum in Miami on Wednesday, Trump highlighted what he described as strong growth indicators, low unemployment, and renewed investor confidence under his leadership. "We have the greatest economy right now," he said, while acknowledging that a lot of people don't see that, referring to continued public skepticism and partisan divisions over his economic policies. The remark came less than 24 hours after Democratic candidates made major gains across several key states, signaling potential challenges ahead for the Trump administration as it seeks to maintain political momentum. Analysts view the outcome as a rebuke of the president's agenda and a sign of growing Democratic mobilization at the state and local levels. Global markets reacted cautiously to both the election result and Trump's statements. While Wall Street opened with modest gains, European and Asian markets displayed mixed reactions amid uncertainty over U.S. fiscal direction and trade policy. Economists note that while certain sectors such as energy, defense and manufacturing have benefited from Trump-era deregulation, inflation and cost of living concerns continue to pressure middle and lower income households. International observers are closely watching how the administration's policy may affect global trade relations, especially with China and the European Union. Trump reaffirmed his commitment to America's first economic strategies, pledging further tax incentives for U.S. businesses and stricter enforcement of trade agreements. Political experts suggest that the president's focus on the economy is aimed at shoring up public confidence following Tuesday's electoral setback. He's trying to reclaim the narrative, said Dr. Melissa Cohen, a political analyst at Georgetown University. While the economy remains his strongest talking point, the Democratic surge underscores public dissatisfaction in other areas, including governance and social policy. As Trump prepares for upcoming legislative battles and the next election cycle, his administration faces the dual challenge of sustaining economic growth while addressing widening political divisions at home and abroad. Temitope Oluwafemi reporting for BeeTv News.
And moving on to the business news, the chairman of the OPEC Board of Governors for 2025, Adeyemi Bello, has urged Nigeria oil producers to prioritize domestic refining and value creation instead of exporting raw crude. Let's join BeeTv News' Temitope Oluwafemi for more details from the business world.
Speaking at the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists pre-conference workshop in Lagos, Adeyemi Bello, who is also the Chief Executive Officer of First Exploration and Petroleum Development Company, stated that Nigeria must move away from decades of crude exports and focus on retaining value within the local economy. He said Nigeria has long depended on oil exports, sending crude abroad for industrial use by foreign nations. He emphasized that the country must take responsibility for developing its energy resources locally to drive industrial growth rather than rely on foreign markets. Adeyemi Bello added that Nigeria must work to increase production to meet its national target of 3 million barrels per day while ensuring sustainability. The NAPE president, Uche, noted that achieving and maintaining this production level would depend on the technical excellence of explorers and the overall performance of the industry. Oando suspends petrol imports as Dangote raises output. Oando PLC has suspended petrol importation into Nigeria as rising output from the Dangote refinery continues to reshape the downstream oil market, causing a 20% drop in the company's trading revenue. In its half-year and 9 months 2025 financial report, Oando stated that its trading segment faced headwinds due to declining premium motor spirit imports following the increased domestic refining capacity. The company said the development, while positive for Nigeria's energy security and self-sufficiency, exerted pressure on its revenue and group top line. To mitigate the impact, Oando diversified crude offtake sources, optimized trade flows, and expanded into new commodities such as liquefied natural gas. The Dangote refinery, which began production in 2024, now supplies most of Nigeria's petrol and diesel needs from its 650,000 barrels per day capacity, significantly reducing fuel import dependence. Last week, the federal government introduced a 15% input duty on petrol and diesel to discourage fuel imports and protect local refineries. Analysts said that the new tariff combined with Dangote's increased output would gradually push importers out of the market. Food and beverage imports rose to 677.3 billion naira in the first half of 2025, representing a 44.48% increase from 468.76 billion naira in the same period of 2024, according to the National Bureau of Statistics. Data showed that while imports of primary food and beverages for household consumption surged, processed food and beverage import for households slightly declined by 1.85% from 699.58 billion naira in H1 2024 to 686.81 billion naira in H1 2025. Primary food and beverage imports for industrial use grew by 1.37% from 969.22 billion naira to 982.49 billion naira, while processed imports for industrial use increased by 7.28% from 984.16 billion naira to 1.6 trillion naira. Members of the organized private sector attributed the surge in imports to weak local production, insecurity, inconsistent agricultural policies, and consumer preference for imported goods. Despite the import surge, food inflation dropped to 16.87% in September 2025 from 37.77% in September 2024. However, stakeholders warned that continued policy inconsistency and production challenges could worsen food insecurity. Nigeria's agricultural import bill reached 2.22 trillion naira in the first half of 2025, reflecting rising dependence on foreign food supply. Temitope Oluwafemi reporting for BeeTv News.
Moving on to the entertainment news, Senator Ned Nwoko, APC debtor, stated that politics should be open to all Nigerians and not limited to a privileged few. He emphasized that the goal of every political leader should be to make Nigeria great. Speaking with the News Agency of Nigeria in Abuja on Thursday, he urged political and other leaders to think outside the box for the betterment of the people, noting that only political leaders themselves can make the country great. Let's join BeeTv News Evelyn Izibili for more details from the entertainment world.
Nwoko listed several bills he sponsored, including the constitutional alteration for the creation of a new state, the Nigerian Youth Entrepreneurship Grants Program Establishment Bill, and the Waste Management and Malaria Eradication Agency Establishment Bill. He also highlighted the Cashless Asset Acquisition Act, which requires property and high-value transactions to be conducted through traceable cashless systems, integrating registries with AML and KYC databases to combat illicit financial flows and promote transparency. Other bills sponsored by Nwoko include the Self-Defense and Firearm Ownership Regulation Act, the Corona System Reenactment Act 2023, the ECOWAS Parliament Election Governance Act, the Diaspora Voting Bill, the Parliamentary Governance System Act, the Nigerian Defense Academy Amendment Bill for a Delta State campus, and the upgrade of Ogwashuku Polytechnic to Federal University of Technology Bill. Media personality Charlie Boy reacted to the ongoing marital issues between billionaire politician Ned Nwoko and his actress wife, Regina Daniels. He criticized the couple for bringing their private matters to social media instead of resolving them privately. In a post shared on Instagram, Charlie Boy reminded Nwoko that maturity is not measured by age and that clout chasing cannot solve personal problems. He wrote that as an elder, Nwoko should know how to handle situations better, emphasizing that age does not equate to wisdom and publicity cannot fix chaos. Media personality Toke Makinwa responded to online trolls who mocked her postpartum body after she shared a birthday video. The incident occurred after she posted a video of herself in a beautiful gown to celebrate her first birthday as a mother on Tuesday, November 4th. A social media user identified as Adeton Ashiru criticized Toke on X, formerly Twitter, saying she should not have done a birthday shoot while her stomach was still bloated from childbirth. Toke responded firmly, addressing the body-shaming comments and standing up for new mothers who experience body changes after giving birth to her daughter, Yaya. Jasmine Michelle, a 23-year-old from Edinburgh, was crowned the winner of the 16th series of the Great British Bake Off. She spoke about how living with alopecia since age 12 changed her perception of beauty and inspired her to embrace her natural appearance. Jasmine explained that her hair began to fall out in her early teens, prompting her to wear wigs. Her hair regrew and fell out several times, but 3 years ago, she decided to stop wearing wigs and live confidently without them. She stated that she never imagined being on national TV without a wig, much less winning the Bake Off. Her story has inspired many viewers and brought awareness to alopecia and body confidence. Evelyn Isibile reporting for BeeTv News.
Down to sports, Ariana Sabaleka, we aim to reinforce our status as a world's top player by winning our first WTA finals title in Riyadh, as the season final gets underway on Saturday with all 4 of the year's Grand Slam champions featuring in a strong field. The Belarusian exemplified consistency in 2025 and arrived for the November 1-8 tournament, having retained our US Open title in September, after finishing up to Madison Keys at the Australian Open and Coco Gauff at Roland Garros. The only Grand Slam final she failed to reach was at Wimbledon, where Iga Swiatek defeated Amanda Anisimova. Sabaleka and Paolini each earned $355,000 just for stepping onto the court at the WTA finals. But Sabaleka's victory added another $355,000 to her total, pushing her 2025 season earnings to a new high of $13,008,519. And that will be all on our 3 p.m. news updates. Join us later on our 6 p.m. major news. Thank you. I am Ruth Ogbodu. Goodbye for now.